Hey, it's Paul. Welcome back to YNR Update. I'm going to jump right into things. It's Friday, so you know there's a lot happening. First, we see Michael, and he's saying goodbye to Felicity. He thanks her, and he gives her a tip. I don't get why he gives her a tip. I mean, she just sat there and listened. A pair of ears. I mean, you could have gotten a Cocker Spaniel, and you didn't have to tip it. Anyways, she comes out of there, and Lily sees her, doesn't know who's in the room, calls the cops. And, of course, who's downstairs but Lauren, Kane, Lily. And just as they're talking, Michael gets hauled out of there in cuffs. So it looks really, really horrible. But Lauren's a trooper. She's hanging in there. And then they bring Felicity back and they say that she's getting arrested too. So it's kind of ugly. Now Kane goes to help. And the first thing, Lily, who's absolutely paranoid that Lauren's going to do some man stealing, she gets ticked off that he's taken off to help. So after that, Lily tells Devon that, Kane cares more about Lauren's marriage than he does about hers. So there's tons of tension coming down the road for these guys. Then Lauren bails Michael out and, she asks him for the real story. And he looks at her and he says, I paid a hooker to have sex. Really, dude? Seriously? That's what you're going to tell her? She supported you through all this, but hey, more to come. And then they have a scrap. And Lauren is absolutely crushed. Michael tells her he wants nothing to do with her. He's absolutely pushed her right away. And then we see Lily, and she's telling Devon that she's kind of afraid of Lauren because she's had a habit of straying, you know what I mean? And she thinks Kane might be bait. But then we see Kane, and he actually doesn't go to Michael. He goes to Felicity, and he questions her at the police station. And of course she says, yeah, he was a great guy. We did not have sex. And what does he do? He beats a path right to Michael. Now, Michael asks him not to tell Lauren the truth. And he says, he really has to push her away because his treatment's affected him emotionally and physically, and he can't be the husband she wants. So what, you'd rather treat her like crap, let her know you're cheated with a prostitute, absolutely humiliate her the way she humiliated you, and that's how you're going to make it better for her? Dude, I don't even understand you. And then it's so brutal. So Kane, goes back and he talks to Lauren, and of course she's got a million questions, and he can tell her the truth. But what does he say? He says Michael is in a dark place and he's got to hit rock bottom. So he's not going to rat Michael out because Michael's asked him not to tell Lauren the truth. So at that point they embrace. It's a tender moment, but you know who sees it? Lily sees it. It just looks really, really bad. It looks so bad. And then we see Kyle, and he visits Jack. Now, Ashley tells Phyllis that they can't find the contract. Now, Phyllis doesn't know anything about the contract, but she sees that Ashley's getting aggressive and accuses her of, trying to get the CEO spot. And they sort of fight about that, and Abby and Kyle show up, and they get in the middle of it, but Abby defends her mother, and Kyle wants to know if Phyllis is mad at him for actually getting into the accident. And she says no, but she resents what Ashley's doing, because Jack is in a coma. After that, we see Billy, and he's talking to Vicky, and he says the same thing. Where's the contract? We can't find the contract. And he thinks it hasn't been signed. Now, Vicky tells Billy after that her and Stitch are quits. And it's kind of an interesting moment. And he also tells her that Stitch is with Abby. So now Billy's up to speed. But Billy asks Vicky one thing. He asks her to, go and sort of snoop around Victor and see if that contract has indeed been signed. Now, Vicky, she doesn't really want to do this. And then we see Neil and Victor. And this is really ridiculous. Like, Neil and Victor are sitting around, they're looking at the forged contract, and now they know they need a witness to sign it. Now, Nikki shows up, and they start hard selling her. So now we know Neil has totally sold his soul to the devil, to the Dark Knight, to the mustache, Mr. Mumbles, and he is in league because he turns around and helps sell Nikki on the fact that, it's just an oversight, it needs to be signed. First of all, get your stories straight, writers. Victor Newman doesn't miss any details. If he went to the trouble getting a doppelganger, he sure as hell got him to sign it, but I'm going to go along with this. So eventually they get Nikki reluctantly to go along and sign it. And what do? Victor shows up. Well, before that, actually Neil runs into Hillary at the office, and it's ridiculously awkward. And you can tell he's got nothing but revenge on his mind. In fact, Nikki asks him after the fact, and he says, yeah, I'm just faking it. And she asks him if he's tempted to have a drink. And he says, yeah, pretty much every day. And he asks Nikki the same, and she says no, as she's glaring at a bottle of booze. Okay, could you be any more blatant? But still, we're gonna go along with that. Now, so Victor does show up at Jabot with this contract, and he's so proud of himself, and he shows it to Billy and Ashley, and they look at the signed contract, and Billy looks at it and he goes, "That's not Jack's signature, that's a fake." So we don't even know what's going to happen next. After that, we see Devon and Hillary, and they're, this is earlier on in the show, and they're talking about, how Mother's Day's coming and how she lost her mother, and she's pretty, sort of in a tender state. And Devon says, as far as they go, they want to meet later, but he says, we can't keep doing this dance. Hillary wants to kind of keep it private. Devon wants to meet at the athletic center where he knows Lily and his dad will probably be there. But, he doesn't want to hide it, and so they agree to meet. But after that, he runs into Hillary, and she tells him that, she ran into Neil. It was really, really awkward, and she just can't go ahead with it, and maybe they should just be friends. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. I mean, when you see the two of them together, it's absolute electricity, and something is going to happen, and what happens? They have a kiss, and you know what happens. It's like, bow, chicka, bow, wow. Yeah, that's right, they're doing it. And every time they do it, all the toes get curled up. Everyone's in front of their TV set, their phones and their computers, and they're saying, "We want more Hevon." Hey Chuck, did you know they were voted most romantic duo at the Daytime Emmys? People want to see this couple get it on, and you can do it. So why don't you do it, Chuck? Give Hevon a little more airtime and make us all happy. Hey, thanks for checking out Y&R Update. It's Paul. Follow us on social media, and I'll talk to you next weekend. And thanks to all the people that are supporting us on Twitter and love this show. We'll talk to you soon. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Bye-bye.